retailers.
Hello and a very warm welcome to our viewers joining us in the United States and right around the world. I'm Isa Suarez in London and just ahead right here on CNN Newsroom.
Jobs are back, but prices are still too high. COVID is down, but gas prices are up. Our work isn't done.
We're still going to have inflation for quite some time to come, and we're probably going to have a slowing economy.
I need to find alternatives. Like, this is not going to be livable for me right now.
And I'm just a regular guy. I don't have a six-figure job, and you know what I mean? I have to be careful.
The president will, and he said this before, he will meet with leaders across the world if it's in the best interest of the American people.
On the question that I asked, though, does he believe that MBS was responsible for Khashoggi's death?
The president has spoken to this before, and I'm going to just let his word stand.
Saudi Arabia is a major player, full stop. So I have mixed feelings on this, and if the president called me, I'd say, Mr. President, you can't trust these people.
Live from London, this is CNN Newsroom with Isa Suarez.
Welcome to the show, everyone. It is Wednesday, June 15th, 9 a.m. here in London, 4 a.m. in Washington, where the U.S. Federal Reserve is planning bold action today to try to keep soaring inflation from really getting any worse. The central bank is expected to raise interest rates by 0.75 percentage point. That is the biggest increase in almost 30 years. There are concerns over the economy re-driving down financial markets. The Dow lost another 150 points on Tuesday, as you can see there. The S&P 500 finished lower for a fifth consecutive day, pushing it further into bear market territory. President Biden blames the Russian president and his war in Ukraine for higher gas as well as food prices, but says he's doing everything he can to fight inflation. Have a listen.
Under my plan for the economy, we made extraordinary progress. And we put America in a position to tackle a worldwide problem that's worse everywhere but here, inflation. It's sapping the strength of a lot of families.
We're still going to have inflation for quite some time to come, and we're probably going to have a slowing economy as well. So there's going to be an element of what people call stagflation in our situation.
Well, meantime, China is reporting a sluggish recovery from its strict COVID lockdowns. Factory output is up, but retail as well as car sales remain weak. Financial markets around the world have been reacting to all this. A lot to digest. Nikkei down just 1%. Hang Seng and the Shanghai Composite doing slightly better this morning. Let me get to Claire Sebastian. Actually, let me get to European markets before I go to Claire. European markets, well, actually taking this all in their stride. All up, green hours right across the board. There was some market action expected today. We expect to see more market action. Claire Sebastian's here on the European front because the ECB is meeting today. So wrap this all because there's a lot for us to get through. Let's start first in the United States. You know, the last time we saw such a big rate rise was in the 1990s. A remarkable action, but investors, Claire, believe that might not be enough.
Well, it's certainly not going to be the last. You know, I think, Isa, it's worth sort of looking back over the last few years, as long as you and I have been covering the Fed. Has there ever been a meeting where they've been debating, you know, a range of rate rises between 50 and 100 basis points? I can't remember one. I don't remember anything like that. This is where we are. The thinking is that the Fed was slow to act, that inflation, they spent too long saying inflation was transitory because of the supply chain issues during the pandemic and the surge in demand that came after that. Then the war in Ukraine obviously added enormous pressure to food and energy prices. And there was some thought after the April inflation numbers that inflation might be peaking in the US, but then the May numbers showed another acceleration on Friday. And then what had been sort of trailed as a half percentage point hike for this coming meeting today for the Fed, now the rumors were put out into the market on Monday that 75 basis points. That is apparently, if you look at the markets and the sort of the Fed watch tools out there, that is now priced in. So if they don't do that, I think that will be the shock. But they have some credibility to win back with the markets. They have to show that they're on top of this, that they're willing to sort of to really act aggressively to get this under control. I think otherwise they've got a bit of a problem.
It is a very fine balancing act. And speaking of balancing acts, the ECB, they in the last hour announced they have an unscheduled meeting. Why is the ECB announcing this meeting? What's rattling them?
Well, I mean, the Fed, we've got the Bank of Japan, we've got the Bank of England, now the ECB.
And the yields.
Yeah, now the ECB meeting this week. What we know, they say the Governing Council will have an ad hoc meeting to discuss current market conditions. I think that is a reference to what's going on in the European bond markets. We've seen Italian, other high indebted countries, even German bonds this week at an 8-year high. And in particular, we're looking at what they call the spread, the difference between Italian and German yields, because what the Eurozone has traditionally been worried about is when borrowing costs really diverge between different countries. It's very controversial. How do they deal with this? They sort of can't be seen to be paying more into some countries than others. So the question is, what will they do about this? Will they announce something today? Will they use it as a communication tool to sort of reassure the markets that they're on top of this? I think that's the big question. But we see the euro rallying today and yields have come down a little bit.
Claire, I know you'll stay on top of it. Thank you very much. Well, the January 6th committee has released a new video ahead of Thursday's hearing featuring a former White House lawyer. It's expected the hearing will focus on Team Trump's scheme to use the former U.S. vice president to block certification of the 2020 election, which obviously never happened. But the ex-White House lawyer claims conservative attorney John Eastman was the architect of that campaign and presented it to then-President Donald Trump. Here's part of Eric Hirschman's testimony to the committee.
And he started to ask me about something dealing with Georgia and preserving something potentially for appeal. And I said to him, "Are you out of your effing mind?" Right? I said, I only want to hear 2 words coming out of your mouth from now on. Orderly transition. And I screamed, I said, I don't want to hear any other effing words coming out of your mouth, no matter what, other than orderly transition. Repeat those words to me. And I screamed, eventually he said, orderly transition. I said, good, John. Now I'm going to give you the best free legal advice you're ever getting in your life. Get a great effing criminal defense lawyer. You're going to need it. And then I hung up on him.
Well, a member of the January 6th committee told CNN more about the panel's findings and what exactly the Trump team had plotted.
Eastman really was the final card that they played, the so-called Green Bay sweep. And the idea was essentially to deny and overthrow the Electoral College majority that Joe Biden had assembled. And to overthrow that required Vice President Pence to step outside of his proper constitutional role and function and declare unilateral lawless powers to nullify Electoral College votes that had been certified by the governors of the states and sent in. And then they thought that either Trump could be declared the winner in the Electoral College, or they could kick the whole thing into the House of Representatives for a so-called contingent election, which they knew Trump could win by virtue of the number of state delegations controlled in the House.
Well, meanwhile, New York Attorney General has opened an investigation into Donald Trump's fundraising efforts after the 2020 election. A financial investigator revealed Trump's team sent out as many as 25 fundraising emails a day, full of false claims about donations being used to challenge alleged wrongdoing in that election. The January 6th committee claims the funds instead went to a political action committee formed by Trump himself. While her jurisdiction only applies to New York, the Attorney General says the allegations are her duty to investigate. It's a split decision for candidates backed by Donald Trump in South Carolina's Republican primaries. Incumbent Congressman Tom Rice voted to impeach Trump. CNN projects he will lose to state lawmaker Russell Fry, who got the former president's endorsement.
Today, the conservatives in the Republican Party won. Today, Donald Trump won. And today, the voters of the 7th Congressional District won.
In South Carolina's 1st District, CNN projects incumbent Nancy Mace was able to fend off a challenge from Trump-backed Katie Arrington. Mace didn't vote to impeach Trump, but she broke with Republicans who objected to Joe Biden's election.
I also want to thank Mick Mulvaney, who endorsed my campaign early on. He helped us raise some money. He's a great fiscal conservative. I also want to thank former South Carolina Governor and UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
And CNN projects another Trump-backed candidate will compete for a U.S. Senate seat from Nevada. Adam Laxalt is the former state attorney general and grandson of a former governor as well as senator.
I would like to thank President Donald Trump for not only believing in me, but for believing in Nevada and leading an America First movement, a movement that is alive and well today here in Nevada.
Laxalt will face incumbent Democrat Catherine Cortez Masto in November. A win for him could help tip the balance of the Senate in, of course, the Republicans' favor. Well, given economic as well as security priorities, the White House says President Joe Biden will visit Saudi Arabia, Israel, and the West Bank in July. The Saudi stop on this trip is reviving some old controversies. As a candidate, the president, if you remember, vowed to make Saudi Arabia a pariah over human rights abuses and the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Khashoggi was, in fact, murdered and dismembered, and I believe in the order of the Crown Prince. And I would make it very clear, we were not going to, in fact, sell more weapons to them. We were going to, in fact, make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are. There's very little social redeeming value in the present government in Saudi Arabia.
That was in 2019. Well, right now, members of Mr. Biden's own party are not happy about his planned trip to Saudi Arabia, citing the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi at the hands of Saudi operatives.
I believe President Biden was right when he was candidate Biden about this relationship and holding to account the individual who was complicit in and ordered the brutal murder and dismemberment of my constituent, Jamal Khashoggi, and that is the Crown Prince.
I hope in that conversation will make it clear that the accountability in regards to the Khashoggi atrocities have not yet been completed. We have differences with the kingdom on several issues. I hope he'll reinforce and underscore those issues.
For more on President Biden's upcoming trip and the state of U.S.-Saudi relations, I'm joined by international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson. And Nick, you and I were talking about this, waiting, of course, previewing this meeting. It was pretty much the worst-kept secret, to be completely honest. But what did you hear from the White House yesterday in terms of how the relations, that meeting may go, however awkward it might be to start off with?
Yeah, they're framing it in the bigger context of not only meeting with Saudi leaders, the king, pointing that out, the invitation coming from the king, so they're framing it that way as well. But they're meeting with the Kuwaitis, the Emiratis, the Bahrainis, the Jordanians. There's going to be other nations there. So they're framing it in that bigger context. And they're framing it in a broad range of mutual issues. President Biden, and this is a difficulty for the Saudis, did make good on some of what he said, stopping selling weapons to Saudi Arabia. He did do that. He has subsequently found, and the Saudis said that he would find, that trying to fight the war in Yemen was ultimately going to come round to their view. And the United States does seem to be drifting back to that position. But for the United States, there's no getting away from this. It's going to be awkward. MBS, in the view of the United States, has blood on his hands, and President Biden is going to have to do business with it.
And it's awkward, but it's, I read a fascinating article in The Atlantic that was basically saying that President Biden's decision is the right one because it's important on the policy front for America's middle class. And this is important because we were talking about stock markets, inflation, oil prices, and that's where Saudi Arabia has, those ties, long ties with the United States, where it's very much needed.
That trade between the United States that sort of first began aboard the USS Quincy with President Roosevelt and the founder of Saudi Arabia, King Abdulaziz ibn Saud, 1945, it was all about a trade for oil for security. And that relationship exists today, and that's why President Biden's going back. And if he can get Saudi Arabia, as it's done in the past, it does have spare capacity built in to produce more oil. It has been the sort of swing oil producer. It can do it again if it wants to for geopolitical reasons. But let's not forget, MBS has a hugely ambitious project of building a whole new city for more than 1 million people with new industries outside of the hydrocarbons. And he needs a high oil price to be able to meet the expectations of his people. There's a lot in play for him. So, if the Saudis do increase the oil output, they know the revenues that come back to them can fall, and there's got to be a quid pro quo for them. Part of it is the recognition of MBS, but there will undoubtedly be more. But these are trade-offs at many levels. Saudi Arabia is a partner on many things, but again, and I think we talked about this yesterday, that in the big picture, you can't, if that relationship is based on oil for security, fundamentally. If you don't provide the security part for Saudi Arabia, they may not provide the oil. And if you don't provide the security, they'll go somewhere else. And they may go to either Russia or China. And not in the US long term.
What is clear is that it looks like another big win for Saudi Arabia in terms of the global stage, given that we saw as well on the LIV Golf Tournament, which we do not have time to talk about. But Nick, always great to get your perspective. Thank you, Nick. We'll be keeping an eye on the US Supreme Court in the hours ahead to see whether any opinions will be announced. The justices have yet to decide on a number of cases, including a dispute concerning a Mississippi law that bans abortion after 15 weeks into pregnancy. Gun rights are also in focus. Another case involves a New York law restricting permits for people to carry concealed firearms outside the home for self-defense. At issue whether this violates the Second Amendment. The White House says President Joe Biden will sign into law legislation that provides additional funding for security to Supreme Court justices and extends security protections to their immediate family. The issue of security has been in the spotlight this week after a man was arrested, if you remember, near the home of Justice Brett Kavanaugh as protests surge following report the court may be poised to overturn the landmark abortion rights ruling Roe v. Wade. Record heat and widespread power outages of many in the US looking for ways to keep cool, the latest on the dangerous hot conditions. And that's not the only extreme weather impacting the United States. We'll tell you about concerning wildfires as well as flooding. That is just ahead.
When the doubt sets in, when the heart kicks and legs pound, when muscles burn and belief tires, no matter what, we go on. BioFreeze.
Want one more reason to book it with Choice Hotels? Stay twice and earn a $50 gift card. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
For the night owls, for the early birds, for the mentors, and the tough mothers. There's Grainger, supplies and solutions for every industry, with real-time product availability online and next-day delivery options. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful, so we set out to create a better home selling experience with a network of the most successful real estate agents in America that'll sell your home for as little as a 2% commission.
The icing on the cake with the Ideal Agent was that we saved $12,000 in commission.
They were so stress-free, the whole process was amazing, and I would definitely recommend them.
We are not a discount brokerage. These are top local agents that'll get you the best results.
ShipStation saves us so much time. It makes it really easy and seamless. Pick an order, print everything you need, slap the label onto the box, and it's ready to go.
Our cost for shipping, we're cut in half, just like that.
Go to ShipStation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
What's wrong, Huckleberry?
Storm. Scary storm.
When your dog is anxious, he'll let you know.
What? Thunder Wonders.
Maybe not as articulately as Huckleberry. Here you go, Huckleberry. Try Thunder Wonders, the calming dog chews that help your pup deal with the scary stuff like thunder, fireworks, separation, and travel. From the creators of Thunder Shirts, Thunder Wonders are 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Hey, Huckleberry, you ready to go to the vet?
Thunder Wonders. Thunder Wonders. Thunder Wonders. Thunder Wonders.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54. What's my price?
you can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65 and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. It has an affordable rate starting at $9.95 a month. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-332-8300 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-332-8300. 1-800-332-8300. Call now.
The U.S. National Park Service say parts of Yellowstone National Park will remain closed for a substantial length of time following extreme flooding in its northern areas. CNN estimates heavy rains as well as rapid snowmelt created the equivalent of 2 to 3 months of runoff in only just 3 days. More than 10,000 visitors were forced from the parks. Parts of roads and bridges have been washed out from the rising waters, leaving nearby cities isolated. Supplies are being flown in to those who are stranded. 40 large wildfires in the U.S. have burned more than 1 million acres of land in 6 states. That is according to the National Interagency Fire Center. They say 7 new large fires were reported on Tuesday, 3 in Alaska and Arizona and 1 in Utah. Alaska is currently experiencing the most active wildfires in the country. The flooding and wildfires, just a few really of the extreme weather events across the United States, including a blistering heat wave affecting more than 100 million people. Power outages in Ohio are making extreme heat even worse. A power company official says more than 200,000 homes as well as businesses are still without power following severe storms on Monday, and that outages could last, get this, into Thursday. And one Texas county has issued a disaster declaration after a broken water main near Odessa jeopardized water for 165,000 people. The city says residents should expect a significant loss in water pressure or no water at all. Those who do have water, are being told to boil it before using. Temperatures neared 100 degrees Fahrenheit, almost 38 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. For more on all of this, let's bring in CNN's meteorologist Padram Javaharian. Padram, I'm looking at your screen right now, and those numbers, those temperatures are just staggering. Put it into perspective for us. What's going on?
Yeah, you know, we're running about 10, in some cases almost 20 degrees above seasonal averages. You said about summer officially doesn't even get underway for another week. And you look at these observations, they're impressive as it is, but then you've got to factor in that this is in the shade. This is the ambient temperature, not factoring in the humidity, which makes it feel another, say, 5 to 8 degrees warmer in some of these areas. And as you noted, almost about 100 million Americans under the risk here of excessive heat over the next 24 or so hours. In some of these areas, temperatures easily climbing up into the century mark and staying there for the next several days. In fact, record temps, potentially 50 more of them to add to the list by this time tomorrow across portions of the Midwestern United States, even around the southeastern U.S. with these temperatures in place. And keep in mind, we had severe weather the last several days that still at this hour into early Wednesday morning across the eastern United States have left about 400,000 customers without power. So no power, excessive heat, very little relief into the overnight hours. Really a dangerous setup when it comes to when your body typically recovers in those overnight hours and then not really being able to get good sleep and comfortably get rest when it's incredibly hot outside into the morning hours, and again, no air conditioning to go around as well. But Chicago, 98 degrees on Wednesday. We expect it to cool off just a little bit down to 94 and eventually back closer to seasonal averages. But this multi-day setup kind of continues once we see this brief cooling trend as we go in towards Saturday and Sunday. This dome of high pressure begins migrating a little farther back towards the north and eventually comes right back across areas of the south. Look at the 7-day forecast in places like Atlanta. We should be about 87 degrees this time of year, stay about 10 degrees above that for the next several days. Brief cooling trend, and by brief and cooling, I'm talking about 92 come Sunday afternoon. And by this time next week, resume back into record territory into the upper 90s with heat indices into the lower 100s. Chicago, again, similar sort of a trend, a more significant cooling trend come Friday and Saturday, And then this time next week, just like nothing's ever changed, we go right back up again to almost 100 degrees. So a pretty incredible run of heat, given that summer at this point, still a week out, and these temperatures equivalent to what you'd see in the middle of summer, even say middle of July into early August, certainly not the middle of June before summer even starts. Misa?
Yeah. Pradram Johari, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Pradram. Well, around the world, heat waves are producing destructive and sometimes deadly conditions. After the hottest March on record, India and Pakistan are dealing with more record-breaking heat. Pakistan's climate ministry says the country jumped from winter to summer without experiencing any spring this year. Spain is enduring its earliest heat wave in more than 40 years. Temperatures are reaching more than 40 degrees Celsius in some areas. Forecasters warn the weather system could move to France and the UK in coming days, expecting to get here by Friday, I believe. CNN's Al Goodman is live in Madrid for us this hour with an update. And Al, it's what, 25 past 10 in the morning there. Al, how hot is it already?
Thanks for asking, Isa. 29 degrees centigrade, 84 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's up a couple of degrees centigrade just in the last couple of hours. Where is it going? Up to 40 degrees here in the Spanish capital, centigrade, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Higher still in the south of Spain in places like Seville. And this, according to the National Meteorological Service, is the worst, the hottest day of this heat wave that's been gripping Spain this week. And it's the earliest extreme heat wave in 41 years, and it's on the heels of the hottest May recorded in 58 years. So more than half of Spain's regions are under a level 3 alert. That's the highest. Many others are on a level 2 alert. The cause, according to the weather experts, is a stable front that is combined with a very hot flow of air coming up from North Africa. So the Spanish Health Ministry advising people to drink a lot of water, a lot of fluids, even if you're not thirsty, even if you're not doing exercise, to stave off dehydration. It's not just here, Isa. It's going up to France, as you just mentioned, where they're expecting 40 degrees centigrade temperatures. They're expecting this could be the hottest extreme heat wave in 75 years. And there are several parts of southern France that are under heat wave alerts. It's not just France, it's up to the United Kingdom as well, where they're expecting temperatures in the 30 degrees centigrade range, about 86 degrees Fahrenheit, very hot for there. I'll tell you, in this part of the world, the hottest ticket in town, in this town, in many towns, is a piece of turf next to a swimming pool. Isa?
Al Goodman in Madrid this hour. Thanks very much, Al. Good to see you. Up next, right here on CNN Newsroom, an urgent call for more weapons in Ukraine as officials say the war has now reached a critical stage. We have the latest for you from Kyiv. Plus, the engines were on, the cabin crew on board, but the last minute that court halted the UK's first deportation flight to Rwanda. Reaction to the ruling and what's next for the controversial policy. We're live for you in Paris.
Want to do more for your brain? Unlike ordinary memory supplements, Nariva Plus fuels 6 indicators of brain health: memory, focus, accuracy, learning, concentration, and reasoning. Nariva, do more for your brain.
As you get ready for what's next, custom gear from Custom Ink can help make the most of these moments. And we've developed new tools to make it easy for you. Custom Ink has hundreds of products to help you feel connected. Upload your logo or start your design today at customink.com.
A heart attack? Do they have life insurance?
No.
But we have life insurance. John.
I'm trying to find something we can afford.
Fortunately, in only a few minutes, SelectQuote found John a $500,000 policy for only $29 a month. And his wife Anne a $500,000 policy for only $21 a month. Go to SelectQuote.com now and get the insurance your family needs
at a price you can afford. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
What if I sleep hot?
Or cold?
No problem. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed is temperature balancing, so you both stay comfortable and can help you get almost 30 minutes more restful sleep per night. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 Limited Edition Smart Bed, plus 0% interest for 36 months. Ends Monday.
I've always been prone to hair thinning.
I was under a lot of stress.
I was getting older.
I started taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
I am back to me.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
Hot weather is back,
and so are annoying bugs. Get Magic Mesh to let fresh air in and keep bugs out. America's favorite hands-free screen door with over 10 million sold. Stop struggling with sliders. Walk easily through any doorway. Single, double, even your garage. Powerful magnets now 30% stronger. Keep durable mesh shut tight. Magic Mesh attaches in seconds and holds up to heavy traffic. And now introducing all new Magic Mesh magnetic window screens. Fresh air in, bugs out. Available at a retailer near you.
The Roots, Yolanda Adams, Earth, Wind & Fire, and so much more. Juneteenth, a global celebration for freedom. Sunday at 8 Eastern, only on CNN.
Another crazy day? Of course. You're a CIO in 2022, but you're ready because you've got the next generation in global secure networking from Comcast Business with fully integrated security solutions all in one place. So you're covered, on-premise and in the cloud. You can run things the way you want, your team, ours, or a mix of both, with the nation's largest IP network from the most innovative company. Bring on today with Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
People use their phones for all sorts of things. What about you? Are you a teen lifestyle influencer? You live streaming a lot of gender reveal parties? Do you prefer action movies on a tiny screen? No? Well, then you don't need to overpay for an endless data plan. Get just the right amount of data with TracFone's $40 unlimited talk and text plan, now with 8 gigabytes of high-speed data on America's best networks with nationwide 5G. Get the data you need at the price you want. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
I'm Jessica Schneider at the Supreme Court, and this is CNN.
The war in Ukraine is now at a pivotal moment that assessment sources say comes from Western intelligence as well as military officials who believe this critical stage could determine the long-term outcome of Russia's invasion. On the ground in eastern Ukraine, fierce fighting rages on in the Kharkiv region and in Severodonetsk, where President Volodymyr Zelensky says his country is experiencing painful losses. He says it's vital for the Ukrainian military to stay in the Donbas region and is now pleading for more help, which would include modern anti-missile weapon systems to fight Russia's aggression. And that help could come soon. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin would lead a working group of nearly 50 countries to discuss the crisis today, with U.S. expecting announcements of weapons and equipment packages for Ukraine. Have a listen.
Even though Russia has fewer and fewer missiles with each passing day, Ukraine's need for such systems remains, because Russia still has enough Soviet types of missiles, which are even more dangerous. They are many times less precise, and therefore threaten civilian objects and ordinary residential buildings much more.
And Salma Abdulaziz joins us now live from Kyiv. And Salma, just talk to us about what we're hearing from Western intelligence in terms of being at this critical juncture of this war, because that is important given the meeting we're expecting to see later with NATO officials.
Exactly. So that meeting about to start. As you mentioned, there is a package that's expected to be announced, weapons and more equipment for Ukraine. But one Band-Aid, one aid package is not going to change the reality on the ground here. This critical moment, this pivotal moment that Western intelligence is speaking of is about the east of the country, where Ukrainian forces are failing. They are losing ground, particularly in Severodonetsk and the Donbass, which puts, if Severodonetsk falls, and that looks like it's just a matter of time, speaking in reality on the ground, if Severodonetsk falls, that takes President Putin one step closer to that larger goal of taking the Donbass region. The fear here for Western officials is what happens next. You have these gains, these newly occupied regions running all along that eastern flank down to Mariupol, Kherson, and already steps are being taken by Russian forces to solidify those gains. Eventually even annex those gains, much as they did with Crimea. And what Western intelligence is warning is that new territory, that newly occupied land, could be used to stage further operations, to stage further assaults on Ukraine. President Putin is absolutely playing the long game here. Of course, he withdrew from Kyiv weeks ago, but there is still a hunger, there's still an appetite on the part of Moscow to take more Ukrainian territory. So this meeting is not just going to be about what happens right now. How can we hold up the East right now? Some would tell you that it's almost a foregone conclusion that Ukraine will lose parts of this territory, at least, if not all. They cannot cannot claw back what they've had. And now you have a war of attrition that could drag out for years potentially. So Western officials need to find a way to continue to sustain a much smaller, much weaker Ukrainian army in the face of continued Russian aggression.
And we'll bring you, we're expecting you live in the next 30 minutes or so from Jens Stoltenberg, NATO chief. We'll bring, of course, that to you as soon as that happens. Selma, thank you very much. Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been transferred to a maximum security prison. A Russian state news agency says he's now at a facility some 250 kilometers or 155 miles east of Moscow. The transfer is in line with his nine-year sentence for alleged fraud, which was handed down, if you remember, in March. Navalny survived a poisoning by a nerve agent back in 2020, which he blames on President Vladimir Putin. The Kremlin denies the accusation. Navalny later predicted that since the government failed to kill him, it would try to keep him behind bars. US basketball star Brittany Griner will stay in Russian custody until at least July 2nd. That is according to Russian state media. Griner is a two-time Olympic gold medalist who played in Russia during the WNBA's off-season. She was arrested in February after authorities claimed she had cannabis oil in her bags. Since then, her detention has been extended several times. Supporters have been pushing for her release, fearing Russia could use her as a political pawn during its war in Ukraine. An American who was recently freed from Russia says he has now filed a petition with the UN over his detainment. Trevor Reed is a US Marine veteran who spent nearly 3 years in a Russian prison before being freed early this year. In the petition, Reed says Russia violated international law by detaining him on made-up charges.
That petition includes legal documents, eyewitness accounts, and that's what's going to be used to prove denial of rights under international law. They fabricated this crime in order to hold me there for political purposes, and this is the first step in seeking justice and ending, Russian hostage diplomacy.
Reed says he hopes holding Russia accountable will force them to stop the practice for good, adding that he wants to see fellow Americans, Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan, freed as soon as possible. The first flight of a controversial deportation plan by the UK was grounded at the 11th hour. The plane was on the tarmac with engines on, and the cabin crew was seen boarding when the European Court of Human Rights intervened. The court ordered the UK not to deport one asylum seeker for the time being as legal proceedings play out. The ruling from the court led to the remaining asylum seekers being removed from the flight. CNN's Nada Bashir is tracking this live for us from Paris. And Nada, this was quite the intervention, wasn't it, by the courts? Tell us, why did they decide to ground the flight? What's going to happen next?
Absolutely. So it was understood yesterday that there were still 7 asylum seekers to be deported, but in that last moment, just before we were expecting the flight to leave for Rwanda, the European Court of Human Rights intervening there on behalf of one asylum seeker, an Iraqi national. They say that this individual had not yet exhausted all the UK legal proceedings, and that really paved the way for lawyers representing the remaining 6 asylum seekers to submit last-minute applications. And of course, as we know now, none of those asylum seekers were deported. But this has been the call we've been hearing from advocacy groups, human rights organisations from the very beginning, that there needs to be more time for asylum seekers to be able to lodge their applications, their legal challenges to the deportation notices that they have received. And of course, we previously understood that more than 100 asylum seekers had received notices telling them they would be on that first flight to Rwanda on Tuesday, and that dwindled down very quickly to just 7, and now, of course, 0. So there are still concerns over the legality of the whole procedure. And of course, we did see that intervention by the European Court of Human Rights. There has been some question over the jurisdiction they have over these UK deportations. The UK is still party, of course, to the European Convention of Human Rights. But Boris Johnson was actually asked yesterday, ahead of that scheduled flight, whether or not it was time perhaps for the UK to withdraw from that convention to allow the government to make up its own rules. And while he didn't answer that directly, he didn't also refuse to say that the UK would consider this. Take a listen.
Will it be necessary to change some laws to help us as we go along? It may very well be, and all these options are under constant review.
Now, Home Secretary Priti Patel issued a statement late last night. She said that she was disappointed that the flight wasn't going ahead as planned, but did say that there would be subsequent flights and expects those that had already been notified of their deportation would be on those later flights. So the government is still very much trying to push ahead with its program. The government of Rwanda has also said it remains committed to the program and is ready to receive asylum seekers. Isa?
Nada Bashir for us in Paris. Sarah, thanks very much, Nada. And still ahead right here on the show, a terrifying moment at a Texas summer camp after a gunman opened fire in a building packed with children.
ShipStation saves us so much time. It makes it really easy and seamless. Pick an order, print everything you need, slap the label onto the box, and it's ready to go.
Our cost for shipping, we're cut in half, just like that.
Go to ShipStation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
We could all use a little calm and comfort, so we use the top half of the screen to show you footage of perfectly adorable pups. You know who else could use some calm and comfort? Your own adorable pups. Many suffer from stress and anxiety from things like thunderstorms, fireworks, separation, travel, and more. The Thunder Shirt works like a hug and is guaranteed to calm them down or your money back. So love them like a hug. Love them with the Thunder Shirt. Available at PetSmart, Petco, and other pet retailers.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful, so we set out to create a better home selling experience with a network of the most successful real estate agents in America that'll sell your home for as little as a 2% commission.
The icing on the cake with the Ideal Agent was that we saved $12,000 in commission.
They were so stress-free, the whole process was amazing, and I would definitely recommend them.
We are not a discount brokerage. These are top local agents that'll get you the best results.
The hot spots and pressure points on your mattress could be why you were tossing and turning last night, leaving you tired with aches and pains. But don't buy a new mattress. Upgrade it with the premium mattress topper by Dormeo. It transforms your mattress into a luxurious sleeping surface. It's the only topper in the world with patented OctaSpring technology, providing incredible pressure point relief and advanced breathability, so you don't wake up hot. Head to Dormeo.com now for a special TV offer that's only available at Dormeo.com. That's Dormeo.com.
Is this cake? Why is everything cake now? Don't believe it. Obviously, I'm going to finish it.
Full Frontal with Samantha Bee, all new Thursdays on TBS.
This is Xfinity Rewards, our way of showing our appreciation. With rewards of all shapes and sizes.
Are we actually going?
Yes! And once-in-a-lifetime moments.
2 tickets to NASCAR! Yes!
Find rewards like these and so many more in the Xfinity app.
All right, ashwagandha. Help a girl out here. Breathe, Jen. We're not letting in stressed Jen. Because everybody loves Zen Jen. Zen. Jen? Zen. Hello? Visit Goalie.com today. Zen Jen.
United Shades of America with W. Kamau Bell. Premieres Sunday, July 10th at 10.
To Washington now, where U.S. senators are still hammering out the details of a bipartisan gun bill. And lawmakers got some key support on Tuesday when Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announced he would support the legislation, but only if the final draft of the bill lines up with the framework announced on Sunday. Among the reforms that have been laid out so far, an incentive for states to pass red flag laws intended to keep guns out of the hands of people who pose a threat to themselves or others. It also includes a more thorough review process for buyers under 21 who want to purchase AR-15 style rifles, and it would provide major investments for mental health resources and school safety. A senator working on the new legislation says he thinks it can get passed by July 4th, adding that it seems unlikely many Republicans will reverse course at this point. Have a listen.
I don't sense that any of the Republicans that supported that framework are reversing course, in part because I think they've seen, the really outpouring of support for this legislation from all across the country, from gun owners and non-gun owners. So I expect that, we are going to spend this week just putting that framework into text and trying to get a vote in front of the Senate as quickly as possible.
Well, as those negotiations grind on, another reminder of the gun violence plaguing the United States. Officials in Texas say police managed to stop a potential mass shooting after a gunman opened fire inside a building filled with children at a summer camp. CNN's Josh Campbell has a story for you.
Parents in Texas just grateful to hold their children after police rushed to a North Texas sports field house where a summer camp was being held and shot a gunman threatening the camp. Police in Duncanville, Texas, near Dallas, said they exchanged gunfire with the man who opened fire at the camp on Monday, where some 250 children aged 4 to 14 and staff were present, some hiding.
He had texted me and said, "Mom, I think someone's entered the field house with a gun."
When the gunman entered the building, police say camp counselors began moving the children to a safe area and locking doors.
He went in the room, and then we heard shooting, and then we got scared, and everybody started crying. They just told us to stay quiet, and we were in the men's room, so there were showers in there, so we hid in the showers.
I was praying to God just so nothing will happen.
Police shot and killed the gunman. No children, staff, or officers were hurt, according to officials.
Upon hearing that gunshot, they did what they were trained to do, the counselors. They moved the kids to a safe area and began locking the doors. The suspect went to a classroom, was unable to get inside, and did fire one round inside the classroom where there were children inside.
There was no hesitation whatsoever. As we're very thankful for their training, that they do exactly what they're trained to do.
In Alabama, just last week, a man was shot and killed by a school resource officer after police say he attempted to enter an elementary school where 34 children were attending a summer literacy camp. Law enforcement said he was also trying to forcibly enter a patrol vehicle and was killed after an altercation with the officer at the school.
He went straight to the threat, he confronted it, and he dealt with it, and it ended in, unfortunately, the death of the suspect, but that's the safest alternative, to keep that threat out of that school.
Now, it's been 3 weeks since that deadly shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and there's still several questions that law enforcement hasn't answered about their response on that day, particularly these reports that they were treating the situation as a barricaded subject rather than an active shooter. Compare that with those two cases we just brought you from Alabama and the Dallas area. That's how law enforcement is supposed to respond, to go to the sounds of gunfire, to try to stop that threat. Of course, in the case of the Dallas suburb camp incident, it's also important to point out that it's not just the police who are being applauded for the response, but authorities also praising the camp counselors who quickly sprang into action whenever the shots rang out, trying to get those kids to safety. Josh Campbell, CNN, Houston.
The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission reports 13 children have died while using Fisher-Price rockers between 2009 and 2021. Consumers are being reminded that infant to toddler and newborn to toddler rockers should never be used for sleep, and children should never be left unsupervised or unrestrained in the rockers. Parents should instead put kids to bed on a firm, flat surface. That urgent warning comes from the manufacturer Fisher-Price. The Product Safety Commission is investigating all fatalities. The U.S. Justice Department is cracking down on COVID relief fraud. Nearly 1,500 criminal charges have been brought so far. The cases amount to more than $1 billion in losses, and we can expect to see more as thousands are under civil investigation. That is according to the head of the COVID-19 fraud enforcement, Kevin Chambers. Next, it could be the end of an era in K-pop. Superstars BTS say they're taking a break, but does that mean they're gone for good? We'll explain next.
When you find your reason to go on, let it pull you past the doubt, past the pain, and past your limits. No matter what, we go on. File freeze.
For the night owls, for the early birds, for the mentors, and the tough mothers. There's Granger, Supplies and solutions for every industry, with real-time product availability online and next-day delivery options. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I've always been prone to hair thinning.
I was under a lot of stress.
I was getting older.
I started taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement.
I am back to me.
Start your hair growth journey at Nutrafol.com.
You know, blackberry hint water tastes more like fresh blackberries than the blackberries in my pie.
Really?
Yeah. Taste for yourself.
And? Delicious. Just blackberries, no sugary stuff. You know, my cherry hint water tastes more like cherries than the ones in my pie.
Find out for yourself at drinkhint.com. For a limited time, new customers can get 40% off our top flavors. That's 36 bottles for only $36. Only $1 per bottle. Order today and we'll ship it direct to your door for free. Go to drinkhint.com and order today.
Hot weather is back, and so are annoying bugs. Get Magic Mesh to let fresh air in and keep bugs out. America's favorite hands-free screen door with over 10 million sold. Stop struggling with sliders. Walk easily through any doorway. Single, double, even your garage. Powerful magnets now 30% stronger. Keep durable mesh shut tight. Magic Mesh attaches in seconds and holds up to heavy traffic. And now introducing all new Magic Mesh magnetic window screens. Fresh air in, bugs out. Available at a retailer near you.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65 and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. It has an affordable rate starting at $9.95 a month. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-332-8300 for your free information and free gift. That's 1-800-332-8300. 1-800-332-8300. Call now.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Thundershirt. Constant gentle pressure for a calmer pet.
If your dog suffers from fear of thunder, fireworks, separation, or any other anxieties, Thundershirt may be the answer. Available at these and other retailers.
K-pop superstars BTS say they aren't blowing up the group like dynamite, they're simply taking a break. The massively popular boy band made the announcement during its 9th anniversary celebration, and it was very careful to call this a hiatus. Its members say they want time to explore solo projects, and one of them did admit they were going through a rough patch right now. BTS promises the band will get back together again someday. Doesn't sound good. CNN's Blake Essig joins us now live from Tokyo this hour. And Blake, I suppose what everyone wants to know, the fans want to know this morning, is it a breakup or is it hiatus?
Well, you know, Issa, call it what you want to call it, but it really does feel like the end of an era, and the BTS army that includes tens of millions of fans worldwide are devastated by last night's news, with some fans taking to social media to say that they've been crying for hours. And while it isn't going to ease the sadness of superfans, band member V hinted that they haven't ruled out continuing to work on projects as a group, saying when we gather again as a group, the synergy will be like no other. But for now, BTS is taking a break, and the group offered several reasons for their decision to go on this so-called hiatus. face, including a lack of individual growth and the inability to pursue solo projects, fueled by the unrealistic demands created by the K-pop and idol system to keep producing music. And while acknowledging their fans, the band admitted that the dynamic of the group had changed during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that it's been a long and exhausting process trying to find their identity. Take a listen.
Right now, we've lost our direction, and I just want to take some time to think and then return. But that just feels rude to our fans, and like I'm letting down their expectations.
Although it wasn't given as a reason for the group's decision to at least temporarily go in their separate ways, all South Korean men aged 18 to 30 are required to serve in the military for about 2 years, and 3 band members, including 29-year-old Jin, are due for military service in the next 2 years. Now, on the business side of things, Issa, BTS's management company, Hebe, saw their stock fall more than 25% as a result of the band's announcement. A big loss financially, but of course a big loss for fans who are understandably overcome with emotion regarding this announcement.
Yeah, lots of tears being shed today, including that of my director, who is a big fan, apparently, I hear. Blake Keswick for us in Tokyo this hour. Thanks very much, Blake. Now, a top golfer is fed up with talking about a controversial new series backed by Saudi Arabia. Brooks Koepka says the media is to blame for taking attention away from the upcoming US Open by asking questions about LIV Golf.
I don't understand. I'm trying to focus on the US Open, man. Like, I legitimately don't get it. I'm tired of the conversations. I'm tired of all this stuff. Y'all, like I said, y'all are throwing a black cloud on the US Open. I think that sucks. I actually do feel bad for him for once. Right. Because it's a situation. Like, we're here to play, and you're talking about some event that happened last week.
The event he mentioned was just the inaugural tournament in the new LIV Golf series. LIV Golf has divided fans and players alike due to Saudi Arabia's involvement and for poaching some golfers from the renowned PGA Tour. The world's #2 and #3 ranked golfers said the PGA's rich legacy is more important than the enormous sums of money offered by LIV Golf. Have a listen.
I've never really played the game of golf for monetary reasons. I play for the love of the game, and I want to play against the best in the world. I've always been interested in history and legacy. And right now, the PGA Tour has that.
Going back to history and tradition, and putting your name on trophies that have the legends of the game on them, that's really cool. And that's something that money can't buy. And legacy, reputation. At the end of the day, that's all you have. You strip everything away, and you're left with how you made people feel and what people thought of you, and that is important to me.
And all this comes just ahead of the 122nd US Open that's set to begin tomorrow. That does it here for me on CNN. Early start with Christine Romans and Nora Jarrett's next. I shall see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Why choose proven quality sleep from the Sleep Number 360 smart bed? Because it can gently raise your partner's head to help relieve snoring. Ah, that's better. And can help you get almost 30 minutes more restful sleep per night. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed. Plus 0% interest for 36 months. Ends Monday.
Spend less time making drinks and more time making memories. Introducing Bartesian. The perfect pour every time. For every cocktail at your party.
This Father's Day, gift free cocktails and a shaker from Bartesian.com/dad.
ShipStation saves us so much time. It makes it really easy and seamless. Pick an order, print everything you need, slap the label onto the box, and it's ready to go.
Our cost for shipping, we're cut in half, just like that.
Go to ShipStation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful. So we created our smart seller system to sell your home for top dollar and save you thousands in commissions.
I was amazed in the fact that my house sold in 1 day. Ideal agents saved me in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $25,000 in commissions. The process was as easy as it gets. They are the #1 way to sell your house.
Our service is free, available nationwide, and there's zero obligation. Call us today or visit idealagent.com.
Do you
you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term policy, for an immediate cash payment.
We thought we had planned carefully for our retirement.
But we quickly realized we needed a way to supplement our income.
If you have $100,000 or more of life insurance, you may qualify to sell your policy. Don't cancel or let your policy lapse without finding out what it's worth. Visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if your policy qualifies, or call 1-800-481-1700. Coventry Direct, redefining insurance.
Some people think we are all brawn and no brains, and I like to fight the myth.
All right, ashwagandha. Help a girl out here. Breathe, Jen. We're not letting in stressed Jen. Because everybody loves Zen Jen. Ginseng. Jen? The Jen. Hello? Visit Goli.com today. Zen Jen.
Dreaming while awake? Junk sleep. Don't let junk sleep mess with your head.
Welcome to Mattress Firm.
During Mattress Firm's July 4th sale, save up to $500 when you get a king for the price of a queen, or a queen for a twin. Plus a free adjustable base with qualifying Sealy purchase.
Just go ahead and lift you on up.
You can't put a price on good sleep, but it's better on sale. Mattress Firm. Unjunk your sleep.
Juneteenth, the global celebration for freedom, Sunday at 8 Eastern, only on CNN.
Welcome to our viewers in the United States and all around the world. It's Wednesday, June 15th. I had to check there for a second. I'm Christine Romans.
I'm Laura Jarrett, and we begin this morning with the economy and the struggle, of course, to control inflation. That's what everyone's talking about. Just hours from now, the Federal Reserve will make a move that it hopes will tamp down these soaring price increases we've seen. Here's how the president put it.
Inflation. It's sapping the strength of a lot of families.